Good morning, good morning, good morning, beautiful people. If you are under the sound of my voice, yes, I refer to you as a beautiful person. I refer to the community as beautiful people. And the reason why I do that is because whether we align or we don't, you are beautiful because you have a lesson to teach me. We all have a lesson to teach each other in this world. And they're all valuable. Some of them are harder to learn than others. So that is why I always say, good morning, beautiful people. So today I wanted to get on here and discuss how to be motivated and optimistic in a world that seems to be like everybody always, when things don't go their way, they say, oh, the world is crazy. Here's the truth. The world's always been crazy. There's always been stuff going on. And then people will say, oh man, things are getting bad in the world. There's always going to be something. Anytime you have people from different backgrounds, different beliefs, people from different parts of the world that live different lifestyles, you're going to have some conflict. You're going to have things that don't necessarily align, and that's okay. But there's always going to be something going on in the world. Yes, we all wish that there were no wars going on, that people didn't fight over land that they really don't own in the first place, because God owns everything. We won't even go there. But the truth is, there are wars going on. There is, unrest in different countries. Bad things do happen. So how do we stay optimistic throughout all of that? It's definitely not easy. Now, I have someone in my life that always jokes that I'm a serial optimist. And I receive that wholeheartedly. I'll be that, right? Because I try to look at the glass full, not just half full, full, all the way. Because I don't just want a little bit of positivity, of sunshine, I want it all. So what many of you may not know is that I battled with depression for a really long time. And so it was hard for me to find the light at the end of the tunnel, to find the rainbow and be optimistic about anything. There was a point in time in my life where I was so depressed that I literally was like, well, God doesn't care about me. And if y'all are in the comments, I am not down in the comments right now. I'm not down in the comments. I'm in an Uber. And like I said, by Uber, I mean my people that's driving me to work. But there was a point in time in my life when, and if you're just joining, please go ahead and like the live. I see somebody, I happen to peek and somebody already did that. Thank you so much. Go ahead and join them. Like the live, subscribe to the channel. Help a rising YouTuber grow. I appreciate y'all for being here. But yeah, there was a point in my life where I literally was like, things were so bad and I felt like things were elevating for everybody else but me. So I literally thought that God forgot about me. And me and God was tussling, okay? Like, me and God wasn't talking on some Father God, Our Father, Hail Marys, because I got a Catholic background. I don't subscribe to organized religion now, but I grew up Catholic. And that's the way we were taught to pray. But me and God, I was like, yo, what's going on? I'm doing the things. And nothing is coming of it. What's up? You forgot about me. That was the street way of saying, my God, why have you forsaken me? I really felt like that. Everybody around me was moving into houses, new cars, getting better jobs, getting promotions, getting married. Like, I had a circle of family and friends. Everybody was making moves. And it was like some of them, we worked in the same field or we worked in the same place, some of us. And I just couldn't understand if we work in the same place, like what is going on that I can't, and like I give you a good example. One of my friends' cars kind of went kaput the same time mine did. All right, cool. They were able to get an amazing deal on a really nice car. Even though our lifestyles were pretty much the same, we made about the same amount of money. For some reason, things just kept getting in the way of me getting another vehicle. And it was like, golly, I can't win for losing. And I realize now, looking back, God was removing everything and all the little distractions and like, kind of tapping me on the shoulder like, you forgot who I am. So that I would have to depend on only him. So I would have to go to only him. And I didn't realize that at the time. But I just felt like, well, dang, God blessing everybody else except for me. And then I would get mad at, like, I would be judgy. I'm okay with saying that because everybody ain't cool with saying that. But I'm okay with saying that. I would be judgy. I would be on some, well, God, they ain't even a good enough person to get XYZ. But I had to realize that's not for me to decide. I can't judge nobody the same way nobody can judge me. Yeah, people do it all the time, but it's not for you. Like, people judge me all the time, but like, you really don't have a heaven or a hell to put me in. Nor do I. So I would sit there and be like, well, God, they ain't even doing right. Like, he cheating on his wife. Why he got a new car? like stuff like that. And I was really tussling with God. And so it was really hard for me to be optimistic. It was hard to see the glass full. Because like I said, I don't like to be half full. I like to be full. Okay? So how do you get to the point where you become optimistic and you start to look at the bright side of things? It's not easy. For me personally, and I'm sharing my testimony in hopes that it will inspire somebody else, because I know it's tough out here. For me personally, I had to hit absolute rock bottom. And it wasn't just one time that I hit bottom. Like, I would touch bottom and I bounce back up, and I touch bottom, I bounce back up. And then this one particular time, I hit the bottom of the bottom of the bottom. And if you want to know more about that story, check out the Survivor series on my channel. It documents a relationship that I had, okay? So when I literally felt like, and it's crazy because you really know who's there for you when you're going through something. And I thought I had this support system. And when I really started going through it, when I tell you people start falling off, disappearing, friends that I thought were super close friends that I even called family because we had been down for so long. We spent holidays together. We went on trips together and all sorts of stuff. They just started not being there. To the point where all I had to hold on to was God. Because at one point, I didn't want to be here anymore. That's how bad it got. And by the grace of God and the fact that all I could think about was my kids. That's what really kept me here. That's what really, pushed me to keep going. I truly feel that God gave me my kids to save my life. Everything is for a reason. Because in those moments, had I not had my kids, I wouldn't have had no hope whatsoever. That's how bad it was. So let's talk about how I won't even say how I came back from that, how God pushed me to come back from that. Okay, so I literally was like on the brink. I was on the edge of the ledge and I was ready to just jump off that mug, okay? It was bad, but I was functioning for my kids. So I was going to work. If I cut out right here, y'all, I'm sorry. We're driving through a dead area. But I was going to work, taking care of the household, doing the things that I need to do for my kids. But I was on autopilot. I literally was like a little android robot, just functioning, smiling, acting like everything was okay, and it really was not. Inside, I was literally unaliving, okay? Like, inside, everything was just weltering, and I was a shell. The shell was looking happy and, well-maintained and had everything together, and inside, I was a withering rose, for real. So what ended up happening was I went to work one day. I clocked in for my shift. I got some of my things together. And I had been feeling a little tired for the last few days. All of a sudden, this wave of like dizziness and lethargy. I'm sorry, I started to say lethargicness. That's not a word. Lethargy, I think that's the correct word. Being lethargic. I was extremely lethargic. All of a sudden, it just washed over me. I'm diabetic, so I automatically thought, oh man, my sugar is up. And that was not it. Turns out, I went from being normal 1 minute, talking to a coworker, to having my head on the desk and I couldn't stand up straight. I couldn't get my balance. All of a sudden, I wanted to say things and the words wouldn't come out. So because I'm diabetic, my coworkers automatically thought, oh my God, she's having a stroke. Oh my God, it's her sugar. So they end up, one of my coworkers was also diabetic. She checked my sugar for me. And somebody else is on, the phone with the ambulance. And I literally, my body shut down. My muscles started to go into atrophy. You know what all of that was? I was having a whole breakdown. So everything that I had been holding in physically, all the stress, all the worry, all the hurt, all the feeling worthless, everything, the depression, everything that I was holding inside my body started to manifest physically. And my body started to react to the point where I couldn't talk right. My words were slurred. If you didn't know me and you just saw what was happening, you would have been like, man, that girl had a good night last night. She was out partying. It was not none of that. But my words were slurred. I couldn't stand up straight. My legs felt like noodles every time I tried to stand up. I felt like I was just going to drop. And then I would have these muscle spasms where my muscles would tighten up real bad and then release. All of that was me holding in years, not even months, years of extreme stress. So, yeah, y'all. Anyway, I just wanted to come to y'all this morning and try to inspire somebody on how to get over that situation right there, that I end up in the hospital for 3 days. They ran tests on me and diagnosed me with psychosomatic disorder, which basically means, in layman's terms, the things that you are experiencing mentally and emotionally are so extreme that they start to manifest physically to the point where you can't function. In my mind, I thought when somebody has a breakdown, they run around screaming and bugging out. It's not necessarily that. My blood pressure was sky high. When I finally got to the hospital and they got me in a room, I was having heart palpitations so bad. They called the rapid response team to put leads on me from my forehead all the way down to my ankles to track and see if I was having a stroke or a heart attack or any of these different things. So yeah, y'all, after that situation, I realized, oh my God, I almost let depression take me. How dare I? Like, God gave me these kids. And that, like I said, it always comes back to my kids. I said, God gave me these kids. How dare I be so depressed that I'm trying to let it take me up out of here? How dare I not pay attention to the cues in my body and start dealing with some of the things that I'm depressed about, or seek therapy or something before I'm not here anymore to support my kids? And I said, that's a slap in the face to God, because he gave me these two gifts to raise. So how dare I not be there to do just that? I didn't think about nothing else but my kids. And even in that, I won't say that was wrong, but that was the beginning of me coming out of it. And then I realized, all right, I need to go to therapy. I've never been against therapy. Of course, I like to talk a lot. Y'all know that. But I've never been against therapy. But there were certain things that were so close to my chest that I didn't want to share them with a stranger. So anyway, I I went to therapy. I started working on things. I started building myself back up slowly but surely. I started doing little things like, I would get myself together and I would put on a little makeup and take myself on solo dates. Even if it was chips and salsa at the Mexican restaurant. I started treating myself like I wanted somebody else to treat me. So I started having more self-care nights. I started having more time to, even if it was 2-3 minutes to meditate. I started doing that. There were so many things that I started doing to make myself feel better about me. And the more I got into the habit of that, the more I started doing things that made me happier. Like, hey, let me make sure my house is real clean. Let me make sure I make this nice meal for the family. Let me make sure I clean my car. Let me make sure I'm, 20 minutes early to work in the morning so I can be organized and ready to go. It's just all these different things that I tried to make sure that I did. And over time, hold on one second, y'all. All right, y'all, my bad. I had to take a short little intermission because we are dropping off my youngest son, and then I'm about to be dropped off at work. So anyway, I started taking time to do these things for myself so I could feel good about myself. Bye, baby. I love you. And that's one of my reasons. That's my youngest reason. Like my kids, like I tell them all the time, y'all saved my life. Y'all saved my life. Because if it wasn't for them, I don't know if I would have had the will to be here. Because I definitely didn't. At that time, I didn't have it in me. And I know with God, all things are possible. But in that time, I didn't believe that, y'all. And I'm just being honest about my walk. Now I know better. Because God was like, you forgot who I was? Are you tripping right now? So, like I said, I started doing little things for myself to make myself feel better. And sometimes it wasn't, going to get my nails done or all these different things. Sometimes it was as simple as, getting that $1 journal from Walmart and just getting my thoughts out on paper. I learned that I can't hold the stress in. I can't, just sit around and be depressed. I got to have some sort of release. So maybe it's going to the local park and like when you pissed off, because I used to do this all the time when I was a kid. When I was pissed off and I'd be mad at my parents, y'all know how like when you're a teenager and you had these rager moments and your little hormones and you like, Mom, life's not fair, and you just like, I hate you, because every teenager does it. Even if you ain't say it, you definitely felt it. Even if you had the best parents in the world, you definitely felt it because you're just a teenager going through it. When I used to get to those moments, I used to have such bad anger. And I would just go to the local park and I would run as fast as I could to get it off my system, get it out of my system. So now I know how to do things. And I had to go back to the drawing board. Like, remember what you used to do when you were stressed? Remember what you used to do that made you feel good? Even if it's as simple as listening to that favorite song that, brings back a good memory. I started doing those things on a regular basis, and all those little things made a difference. But I'm going to tell you what made the biggest difference in my life. When I left that hospital and they told me, hey, you didn't have a stroke, you didn't have a heart attack, but you got to chill out because your body is reacting to what you're going through physically. And it was extreme, y'all. I'm not even exaggerating. When I left that hospital 3 days later, my body had atrophied to the point where I was on a walker. It was like somebody had sucked out all the energy out of me. So even walking around the house made me want to just fall out. Okay? I was so depleted, and I had been doing it for so long. Not eating right, not sleeping. When I say not eating right, I don't mean just junk food. Like, I wasn't eating because I was depressed. Sometimes you go through times when you eat too much. I wasn't eating. That's a big deal because I like food. Y'all see me, I'm a big girl, okay? I'm healthy. I like food. But I wasn't eating. I wasn't sleeping. So my body just like started to shut down. Like, oh, okay, so you're not going to treat me right, so I'm going to show you. But the biggest thing that changed everything for me and helped me to have a more optimistic attitude, every morning, I say thank you. Every time I open my eyes, I say thank you. Even if I'm having the worst time ever, thank you. Because if I open my eyes, I got the opportunity to change it. Somebody you know didn't have that opportunity. Somebody that you love is no longer with us. So I learned to be grateful when I wake up. And I have a running joke that, you know, people ask me sometimes, you know, people say, hey, how you doing? And I say, I woke up. And yeah, it sounds funny. It's a little funny joke, whatever, but it's true for me. That's the main thing. I woke up. I opened my eyes. I'm breathing. So even when things are hard and I'm going through something, I'm trusting that as long as I wake up and I try, God gonna help me through every time. Every time. You can't tell me he don't. Because I've been through situations where I've been abused to the point of somebody attacking me to the point where I couldn't even breathe, okay? I've been assaulted before, okay? I've been stolen from. I've been robbed. Like, I could write a freaking book on some of the stuff that's happened that I've survived. I know that it's God. So if for nothing else, every morning that I open my eyes, I don't care how tired I am, if I'm exhausted. And Lord knows, a bunch of mornings, we don't want to get out of bed. But at least if I can open my eyes, I might lay in the bed and scroll the internet for a little bit. Y'all know. But if I can open my eyes, that's a reason in itself to be optimistic. That's a reason in itself to be positive, to be blessed. So I know that it is not easy a lot of times to be optimistic, to be in a positive mood, to look at the glass, whether you look at it full, half full, whatever. But if you open your eyes this morning, things may be bleak. And I say that from experience. I have literally been homeless before. Like, you know, everybody is like, yay, van life, you know, van life is a homeless. Nah, I wasn't in no cute van life. Like, I literally was in my car, just thugging it out. I literally was going through it by myself, thugging it out in the summer in Georgia. So when I think about those things, yeah, it's always going to be something that happens in life. It's always going to be something that happens in the world that makes things difficult. That's just life. But I think about the things that I have been through, that God helped me through, that God pushed me through, that God carried me through. And that's my reason for being more optimistic. Not because everything is unicorns and freaking roses. I got my mess just like everybody else does. But I try to be as optimistic as possible because I know when I woke up this morning and I opened my eyes, it was a gift. It's a luxury. It's a gift. It's a blessing. But it ain't guaranteed. And so because I know that, I'm grateful and I'm thankful and I'm appreciative. And like, How can you not thank God for everything? Because you just waking up in the morning, opening your eyes, taking a deep breath is everything. You being able to walk and talk, everything. Somebody somewhere doesn't have what you have. Even if you got only 2 nickels to rub together, somebody wish they had them 2 nickels. So that's the way I look at things. Not because they're perfect, not because they're amazing. I have things that I want better for my life. I want to move into a better school district for my son. I want to move into a better area as far as the apartment that we're in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want more things. I want to travel with my kids. But instead of saying what I don't have, I'm so very blessed for what I do. And I hope that anybody that is under the sound of my voice, if you are going through it, things are tough right now, you feel like you just want to give up, don't give up, bro. As long as you got breath in your lungs, I promise you, you got a chance, you got an opportunity to make a change. Sometimes you got to do things a little bit you want different. I used to look at everybody else's life and be like, why not me, God? Why? You forgot about me? You ain't think about me? See? And that's why I don't go to church. That's how I used to think. That's literally how I used to think. And I see, that's why I don't be reading my Bible, because God don't even care about me for real. And I had to realize, nah, God loves you. That's why he's taking everything away so that you can be better, do better, get better. So anyway, y'all, I hope that you are having an amazing Saturday on purpose. And I thank y'all for listening. I thank y'all for joining. And I think they're super cute. And I appreciate y'all listening to me. I hope I inspired somebody. If I helped at least one person, even if I never get monetized, if somebody heard this and they were inspired to just get up and keep going, then my story is not in vain. Yeah, I want to be monetized. Yeah, I want to be, a successful YouTuber. But the main reason why I do this is to inspire people. Inspiring people. I call it FreeJenMarie because my name is JenMarie. And the free comes from living fearlessly. Being free to just be myself. Not trying to necessarily fit in, but go where the Creator leads me. And just be my own person. Free of worrying about people's judgment. I'll never be free of judgment. We all get judged, right? But free of worrying about other people's judgment and acting a certain way because of such. So anyway, y'all, I want y'all to be encouraged to keep going. I want y'all to have an amazing Saturday, no matter where you are. Why don't y'all put it down in the comments? If you're on the replay, put it down in the comments where you are listening from and what time it is. I love y'all for real, and I want us all to be better. And I appreciate you for listening. Thank you so much. Make sure you turn your notification bells on so you know when I drop something, you know when I go live. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel because we are growing. We're getting there. Slow and steady wins the race. So let's go. Peace and blessings.